and welcome back to the Helpful Nerds podcast. Today I'm joined by two nerds of the roundtable. Do you want to introduce yourself, guys?
Hi, I'm Kerry, and I'm Ethan and Ashlea's mother.
Hi, apparently I'm Ashlea. And you might have noticed our voices have swapped. We've gone through a bit of a regeneration. That brings us on to the topic of today, because at time of recording, Season 2 of Doctor Who, Disney edition, it's not Season 2 if you're a fan, is coming out tonight.
It is indeed.
So, we decided that we're going to rank the first episodes of each individual Doctor from New Who onwards. We're not going to do Classic Who, because we'd be here all day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just so many things to get into.
But if people want Classic Who episodes,
Yeah, I mean,
comment.
I'm down to do a watch along with Classic Who if people want to do that.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
So,
yes, but for New Who, we're going from Eccleston onwards.
Yeah, Eccleston onwards. From 2005 to 2025, basically.
20 year.
Wow.
I know.
Excluding War Doctor and Fugitive Doctor, because they didn't really get an introduction episode. They were just there.
Yeah.
I mean, we can acknowledge them. I think having John Hurt show up as the War Doctor was a cracking idea, and the Fugitive Doctor, while the Timeless Child arc has its ups and downs, was an intriguing idea at the time. But I think that's all we can really say on that. There's not really much to discuss about that particularly, is there?
I think the only thing I didn't like about the Fugitive Doctor was the fact that it took away the fact that Jodie was the first female Doctor.
I see what you're saying. She should have been a future variation, not a past.
Yeah. That were my only gripe at the Fugitive Doctor, to be honest.
A way of cementing the legacy of the female Doctor rather than saying Jodie wasn't the first one.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, because we'd never seen it before, so why would it be there? Do you know what I mean? Like, Jodie was the first, and she should have stayed the first.
She was
in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. She was also the best part of the Chibnall era.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
But yeah, shall we start with Eccleston then? And Rose, his debut episode. I think it's unique that the first episode of the Doctor, like the revival, was actually named after the companion.
Yeah.
Like, the episode is physically called Rose, so.
Yeah.
But what do you think of his introduction as the Doctor? And what cements him as the Doctor for you two?
I'm going to be honest. I don't tend to watch Eccleston era that much. When I rewatch, I tend to go from season 2. And I don't know why, because I thought he was a good Doctor. Like, I did like a lot of the storylines.
I think as a family, didn't we kind of jump on around Tennant, though?
I think we did.
So that might be a nostalgia thing.
It could be. But for me, nostalgia's McCoy. And I know we're not doing old Doctors, but I grew up with McCoy. Which is why when we've seen him, I fangirled. But, like...
Yes.
That's like my nostalgia. I don't know what it is. I think I prefer Tennant and Billy Piper together than I do Eccleston and Billy Piper. So I think I can't watch it after Tennant seeing them two together. It don't ring true for her to be in love with Eccleston's Doctor.
See, I think this is where we differ, because I'm the opposite. I prefer Billy with Eccleston than I do Tennant. I don't like the love story. But I'm not a big fan of companions falling for the Doctor in the first place.
Yeah.
No, I agree. But back to your original question, I think Eccleston starts that sort of cheekiness about the Doctor that we see kind of go forward with Tennant and Smith. He has like a little playful glint in his eye.
Yeah, he has got that twinkle. When he does that little smile and he like a little twinkle sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's exemplified in his regeneration as well when he leaves and he says, you were fantastic and so was I. And I think that's just a quintessential Doctor line.
Yeah.
I think for me, what cements him as the Doctor, because we get the fun, whimsical stuff, but it's all with the brooding and the PTSD of the Time War. Like, he is the PTSD Doctor. I know they've all got it in their like DNA, but like it's raw for Eccleston.
He's more angry one, even though he's got the cheeky stuff. He is more angry.
Yeah, but I think the moment where I start to see him as the Doctor rather than just an angry Time Lord is at the end of The Empty Child, where he finally figures out that he can save everyone, and he like sends the nanites out, and he's like, just this once, Rose, everybody lives.
Yeah.
That for me, that was like, oh, that's the Doctor.
Yeah.
He found a way, and he's happy.
You've just made me realise why I don't watch Eccleston's that much. I hate that one.
You hate The Empty Child? Yeah. I mean, that one still scares me to this day, and I'm 26.
Yeah.
So, well, not quite, but almost.
Yeah.
I know in the past we've talked about, just as a separate idea, we've talked about ranking Doctor Who's scariest, New Who's scariest episodes.
That would be up there.
Yeah, and that one would be up there because obviously if you're of a certain generation, so you're in your mid to late 20s into your 30s, like us, you'll have been children when a lot of these episodes were aired, and things like Empty Child, Silence in the Library, Blink, they stick with you because they're scary.
Yeah.
So I can see why you'd probably not watch that one again. Creepy.
But at the time, personally, but it scared me. So,
I mean, it's with The Empty Child, the scene that just takes it from just like the average creepy Doctor Who episode to the over the top creepy Doctor Who episode for me is when the gas mask morphs out of his face. Like, it's just, no.
Yeah.
True body horror.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, so what if we were... Oh God, don't. If we were rating, what did you use for your Doctor Who special? Was it TARDISes?
We used it TARDISes, yeah. We rated it out of TARDISes.
Okay, so what would you recommend? What would you put Eccleston at out of TARDISes? What are we doing out of 5 TARDISes? 10 TARDISes?
I'd say we'll say 10 TARDISes, just because like you said, if you're of a certain age, 10 is usually your favorite Doctor. So I think it'd be funny if we do 10 TARDISes.
Yeah.
Not that this system is going to be ranked at all. We've not even talked about him yet, and already we're kind of being like in homage to the 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
Wonder who's going to be number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So,
right, yeah. So out of 10 TARDISes.
I mean, from his first episode to his last, Like, if we're just looking at those 2 episodes, it's a solid 8, in my opinion. What about you?
I think I'd agree with that, actually. Even though I'm not a big fan of Eccleston, thinking over all the different Doctors, I think I would actually agree with you.
I was going to go a tiny bit lower. I was going to give him a 7, but I'd still, I think 7 out of 10 is still a decent rating.
Yeah.
Can I just say, we can give other people that same number, can't we?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right then.
The only reason I'm buffing it up to 8, because I'm with you with the 7, the only reason I would buff it up to 8 is because without Eccleston's first episode, we don't have Doctor Who back on our screens.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true.
That episode captured something that just drew people back to Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And I don't think that can be overlooked.
No.
Okay, so we'll go with an 8 then.
I'm just going to add on to this, and the more you've talked about Eccleston, the more I'm thinking, might watch season 1 tonight.
So, yeah, I'd say a solid 8, maybe 7.5, somewhere between that.
Mm-hmm.
You can have 7.5 TARDISes to make it fair.
Okay.
Okay, so 7.5 TARDISes for Eccleston.
Okay.
So, moving on.
Moving on. We're not biased at all. Let's move on to the Christmas invasion and the beginning of one of the BBC's favourite Doctors, seeing as though they keep bringing him back whenever they can.
Yeah.
David Tennant.
I also think David Tennant himself is such a Doctor Who fan. Yes. I think he classes it as one of his favourite ever roles. And in a way, I think it's almost like you can tell he's a fan of the show.
Yeah.
He met his wife on Doctor Who.
I was going to say, is that much of a fan of the show? We actually married the daughter of a Doctor.
Who plays the daughter of the Doctor?
Who plays the daughter of the Doctor, yes.
Very, very meta.
I never realised, but that's actually the episode they met on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never realised that.
Yeah, they met. No, I didn't, to be fair. I thought they'd met prior to the episode, but no.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They met on set, which I think is great.
Yeah, I do.
Not only are they a legacy and the Doctor, but they are Doctor Who's actual romance couple.
Yeah.
That's just awesome.
It does make me feel better, though, because I did think it was pretty weird casting his wife as his daughter. So,
Or in the words of the previous Doctor, that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
So, what do we think of the Christmas invasion? Because it is quite a Doctor-light story except towards the end. Like, he spends most of the episode in bed.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I used to have this one on DVD.
Mm-hmm. I know.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Is in we're not ranking Doctors, we're ranking their introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes Tennant really hard because, but like you said, there's a love for Tennant as the Doctor, but I think his initial episode...
that episode was pretty shit, to be fair. Excuse my language, but...
It was Doctor Light. There's not a lot to comment on in terms of when
him.
It's not of him. Yeah, that's not his Doctor moment, really, is it?
It's a very good episode, but it's a very good Rose episode.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm moving forward here, but they did it again with Capaldi.
Yeah, it's they do the same thing with very Doctor Light. It's when the beloved, they seem to be more proactive when it's a beloved Doctor that's left. Like, when we get there, Matt Smith's episode is a lot more proactive of showing him off as the Doctor. Yeah. But with Capaldi and Tennant, it is very light on, especially Tennant. It's very light on the Doctor, except to the very end, which is still really cool, where he's like, because I do like, he does cement himself as the Doctor with the big red button scene.
Yeah.
When he's like, what am I going to do when I see a big red button that should never, ever, ever be pushed? Well, I'm just going to press it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's a Doctor thing to do, but like...
It is the Doctor.
And it just cements him as the Doctor, but it came at the end. It wasn't...
Yeah.
He's not the focus of that episode.
Mm.
Now, in contrast, when we get to his final episode...
Oh, yes. The
end,
actual final episode.
The end...
Not fake out.
Yeah, 10's final episode. The end of time.
Yeah.
That one is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, you can see the breakdown in emotion. He knows he has to do the right thing when he's going in for his regeneration, basically, and save Wilf.
Yeah.
But he has that speech where he's like, it's just not fair.
Yeah.
And then the line that
I want to go.
That gets memed all the time.
Yeah.
I like it in
even got copied in Marvel by Spider-Man.
It's my favourite part of Day of the Doctor where he says it and then Matt Smith goes, he always says that.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny.
It is.
But I think if we combine the two, I think for an introduction, it was pretty lackluster because it was only at the end.
Yeah.
But I think they make up for it when they in
definitely.
the Swan song, basically.
Yeah.
Especially when the Ood sing him out, like that hits you right in the feels.
Don't.
Yeah, don't. That's so sad, that.
I know, when Ood Sigma shows up, you're like, it's coming.
We'll sing to you, Doctor.
Your song is ending.
Yeah.
We'll sing you, Doctor. We'll sing you to sleep.
Yeah, we'll sing you to your sleep. Oh.
And then, you know, Christmas, I think it was like New Year's, actually. Or Christmas. It's one or the other, because I can't remember when part 2 comes out for End of Time, because it was split into 2 parts.
I think it was Boxing Day.
I think it was as well.
But you're just sobbing.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is nothing to do with Doctor Who. Was that the same Christmas that Merlin also ended?
It was. And
because that was such a depressing Christmas. Matthew died on Downton Abbey. Merlin ended.
Yeah. And David Tennant was Doctor Who.
I don't know why I'm so depressed.
It was such a traumatic Christmas.
Was there a memo at the BBC? Someone from the BBC, comment on this if you see it and let us know. Was there a memo that just said you had to ruin everybody's Christmas?
I don't think I've ever cried so much over one Christmas.
It was a very tragic Christmas, that was.
Because, just British TV, because I just realised Downton wasn't on the BBC. Was it just, a memo that went out to every British TV channel? Ruin Christmas.
Must have been.
Yeah, and also people leave comments if you also watched these 3 shows, or at least watched 2 out of the 3, and we're also thinking, bloody hell, past the celebrations, I'm going to have to eat chocolates now.
Yeah, you cry.
Well, Merry Christmas to you too.
You're already crying over King Arthur, and now you're crying over the Doctor.
Yeah, and then turn it over and Matthew dies.
Yeah.
I've just realised as well, how much of a, not just British, but English statement is this, even though Merlin's canonically Welsh, but the fact that we all watched something about King Arthur and cried. Then we watched Doctor Who and cried. And then we watched something about landed gentry and cried.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've just outed the Nerds of the Round Table as definitely being British if Nerds of the Round Table didn't give that away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say British. Yeah, rather, we're not all, we're all born in England, but we're not all fully English.
And I do think it's a British thing anyway, because it's, everybody in Britain really watched all them programmes.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, Doctor Who is mainly filmed in Cardiff.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
BBC Wales, doesn't it?
Yeah, the fact that they use the same beach though all the time for like the beach scenes, and they just take a different angle is hilarious.
We should do it. We should go on a Doctor Who road trip and filming locations.
I agree with that.
Oh, please.
Actually,
well, we can
road trip.
IRL stream road trip.
Yeah, road trip.
I'm a right tangent, sorry, and I'm the only one without ADHD. Out of TARDIS, what do we reckon to the introduction and conclusion to Tennant's Doctor? Not Tennant as a whole.
The conclusion brings it up, but with the Christmas invasion, I would say it brings it down. I would give it around about a 7, the same as Eccleston, because he's not in his first episode until like the last 10 minutes.
I don't know. I think End of Time really makes up for it. I think I'd want to give it like an 8.5.
Yeah, I agree. 8.5.
I can acquiesce to that. Especially seeing as I'm just remembering the one thing that I love in all of Doctor Who when he deposes Harriet Jones. That happens in the Christmas invasion, and I completely forgot that, and it just popped into my head.
Yeah.
He literally just does it by walking up to her aide and going, "She looks tired."
Yeah. I love Harriet Jones. Harriet Jones, former Prime Minister.
Yeah, we know who you are.
We know who you are.
To be fair though, if I became a former Prime Minister, that is how I would introduce myself.
Yeah, I think I would as well.
If you've done it, why not? No.
Any Prime Ministers that find this podcast, please introduce yourself like that.
Yeah. Just in case, you never know. But
David Cameron sat at home listening.
Yeah, you never know.
It was the only one I could think of, can you tell?
It was the only one I could think of.
Wow, okay. You're both super up on politics.
No, not really.
No.
Yeah. Being sarcastic. I love how we can quote a fake Prime Minister from Doctor Who, but can't name a real one. From one.
Look, it doesn't matter anyway. It doesn't matter who they are. The Doctor is the president of the world. Did you not watch Doctor Who?
Yeah. Yeah, the Doctor's the president, so it's fine.
Unit decided, because apparently that's something they get to do.
Yeah. That's way later on. We've skipped a Doctor there.
I know.
I was going to say. Back we go to Smith.
Yeah. Now
I
know we've all said that we love David Tennant, and that obviously he's going to be, he's the number one Doctor. However, I am going to say that it's a joint number one.
Yeah, this is my favourite intro episode for a Doctor.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I knew this is where Smith was the right person to take over from Tennant.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, he had such huge shoes to fill. It was basically trying to fit anyone's shoes into clown feet, basically.
And he did it. Yeah, he did. I'd love to see him back, to be honest.
There was a thing of, wouldn't it be cool if we brought Smith back as the Master rather than the Doctor?
Oh, yeah, quite like that as well.
Like, the Master does it to mess with the Doctor using one of his old faces.
So like the Master is doing all.
I like that theory.
I do. I like that theory too.
But yeah, I think they set Smith up really well. Like,
yeah,
I think it does come back to that point that you said that they because I think Tennant was so beloved, they felt like they had to put a real effort in to kind of get everybody on side with Smith. But it was done really, really well.
Well, when you think about it, it wasn't just Matt Smith having to prove his chops. It was Stephen Moffat having to prove his chops over Russell T Davies. Because it wasn't just Tennant that left. Russell T Davies left the show at the same time. And Moffat was put in charge. So they were both trying to prove themselves with that first episode. And they smashed it out the park.
Yeah, they did. I thought it was brilliant. I watched that one the other day actually, and I love that episode.
Like it's got like so many iconic scenes, like the scene where he's getting changed and Rory asks Amy if she's gonna turn around and she goes, "Nope."
Yeah. yeah.
Like, and then the aliens leave and he just calls them back to Earth.
Yeah.
Like,
get back here.
Get your ass back here. I'm not finished with you.
Yeah.
And then jumps through David Tennant to prove that he's the Doctor. Badass.
I
Yeah.
think there's also those little quirks as well, like in that, even in the first couple of minutes, like when he's explaining that the TARDIS has to, he's just changed, the TARDIS has changed, it's all warming up, he's getting used to everything, and then there's a bowl of cold custard just on the side, which obviously we'll keep coming back to through Smith's Doctor, but not quite there yet. We need to warm up in the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, fish fingers and custard.
Yeah, I definitely think we got the companion right with him as well.
I mean, the episode just hits beat after beat. Like when he finds out she's a kissogram and stuff like that, and he's like, "You were a kid 10 minutes ago."
Yeah.
Like it's funny as hell. When he just breaks into that dude's bedroom and steals his laptop, and he's like, "Dude, please see search history."
Yes.
Like, there's just so many jokes in that first episode that just cement Smith as like the funny Doctor.
Yeah.
And we get the bow tie first shows up in that. He doesn't get his clothes from his own wardrobe in the TARDIS. He steals them from the chuffing hospital where Rory works.
Yeah.
I really, really want to see the Doctor's wardrobe.
I mean, we've seen it briefly a few times, but I want a full deep dive into it. I
want a full one. Yeah, I want a full scene where they're in the
where they're
in his wardrobe, or like just a tour of the TARDIS, or like just having a vague idea of some of the other rooms. Like, there's a pool.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even. It might not fit for the actual show, but they've done things like Tales from the TARDIS now.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Give us a 6 episode miniseries, or even a 3 episode miniseries, where it's just the current Doctor walking us around the TARDIS, and you're like, "Oh, you've always wanted to see the pool room? Well, this is it."
Yeah.
Here's my library. Here's Rory and Amy's bedroom. This is where Rose slept. Just think.
I like that concept, that instead of it being like two rooms where and every time the TARDIS changes, it updates the room for the companion, that instead each companion just has a bedroom, and so the Doctor has 20 bedrooms, and it's you just keep going in and out of each room and being you could tell by the decoration which room belongs to which companion. That's a really
well, that's the way I've always seen it, because it stores all the old console rooms. We saw that when Amy and Rory were running through the TARDIS, and they end up in Tennant and Eccleston's TARDIS control room.
Yeah,
that is true.
So if it can store all them, then it can store bedrooms for the past companions.
That's quite a fascinating concept.
I also like the
there's
idea
another
of
one.
there's a room that Doctor won't take us in, and that's his bedroom.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but the Doctor doesn't sleep.
no, but he has a wife.
He's dead.
Just saying. She did say she was a screamer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe it's not the Doctor's bedroom then. Maybe there's a River Song.
Yeah, River Song bedroom.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then obviously
It's the one that was created when Amy got pregnant. Ready for River Song. So it's always been her room from birth.
Oh, no, that makes it weird.
the TARDIS created a nursery, and then was like, as soon as they were like, oh no, there's no baby here because of how the storyline's now gone. I know, I'll update this into a fully
into a boudoir.
Into a boudoir room because I know she's coming back at some point
to marry the Doctor.
The thing is, the TARDIS exists as time itself, which means it knew everything.
Yes.
That's sorry. Again, this is completely off topic, but that would be really funny if the Doctor's like walking through their TARDIS one day and notices like a new room's turned up, and, like opens it and it's like, congratulations on your wedding. Just getting married. It's like, oh, and then like River Song turns up in the next episode and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, what does the TARDIS know that I don't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, that concept that before the Doctor meets each of his companions, the TARDIS just pops a new room up and he's like, okay, I'm about to meet someone, then I'm fine.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, after we met the TARDIS when she was put in that human body, I was like, okay, that is something the TARDIS would do.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that because the Doctor does it, we all just colloquially call the TARDIS she.
Yeah.
So yeah, all sexy. When we're alone.
Sexy.
Oh, that's my favorite. Like, it is Matt Smith, so we can't technically talk about. It's my favorite thing in Doctor Who when she's in the human body and it comes up to Amy and Rory and he's like, "What do I call you?" And she's like, "I think you call me sexy."
Yeah.
And then Amy looks at him and goes, "Did you wish really, really, really hard?"
Yeah.
I think it's a shame it was only one episode. I'd have loved to have seen like more of the TARDIS as a consciousness.
Yeah.
Not necessarily as a humanoid.
Just as a conscious being.
Just especially in the world we've got now of AI technology.
Yeah, well, you never know.
The TARDIS could have a voice.
I mean, it could explore that again.
It's implied that the Doctor and the TARDIS communicate on some way anyway. So
I mean, so we can hear what they're saying.
I think, I know, but I think it'd be cool if we get like an episode from the Doctor's, like inside the Doctor's mind, and we can actually hear the TARDIS that way, the way he does.
I think you saw that more with Matt Smith than you did any other Doctor, though.
Yeah, I mean, his connection with the TARDIS was bigger than anybody else's.
It was a lot bigger than anyone else's. But he obviously had a thing, old Matt, for robots and stuff. Because I mean, Handel.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
A Cyberman who was his best friend.
His Cyberman head.
Yeah, his Cyberman head, Handel. And I never thought I'd be upset over a Cyberman dying, but that got me.
I mean, and then Rusty the Good Dalek.
Yeah.
Clara was a Dalek at one point, isn't she?
Yeah, Clara becomes a Dalek.
As Oswald.
Yeah.
Yeah, in First Introduction.
First Introduction, yeah.
Well, First Introduction post the Christmas special where she was that weird nanny lady that died.
Yeah.
Oh, exciting. But yeah, and then actually going back to like, because we spoke about Bowtie, obviously I've rewatched just a few clips ready for today, and I noticed before his regeneration, he takes his bow tie off.
Yeah, it drops it to the floor.
Yeah, he does.
And there's a beat drop when it hits the floor.
Yeah.
And that I also like the fact that in his, like, if we go to the last episode, just before he regenerates, it's Amy. She shows back up as like a hologram sort of thing, a hallucination.
Yeah, a little girl.
And as like an older version, she puts her hand on his face and she's like, "Raggedy Man, good night."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he regenerates.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what would we rate Matt then? Because actually I think both his introduction and exit are really strong.
I'd say he's got to be up there with 9.
He's got to be 9.
9, almost 10.
Yeah, 9, almost 10. He's got to be.
Like, his final episode is awesome. The fact that...
Yeah.
Did you just tell me the rules?
Yeah.
Like, that line's sick. Like, you can't regenerate. Never, ever tell me the rules. And then blows up all the ships with regeneration energy.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so cool. So yeah, I'd say a 9.5. Almost.
Yeah.
Like, teetering
almost
on 10.
I think we're all in agreement on that one. I definitely think we're in agreement.
I think the only thing that holds it back from 10, to be honest, I don't really know what would give it a 10. There's just not.
We just can't.
There's just something that I can't. There's something I'd need for a 10.
There's got to be room for, there's got to be, we've got to leave room for even more perfection, right?
Exactly.
Come back.
It's the strongest one we've got, personally, on this list. Like, even for the ones to come, it's the strongest one we've got on this list. But
I don't. What?
No, I feel like you've got something to say later on down the line. Because you said, "Oh, I don't."
Yeah, but I don't, because I've got a favourite one that I would give a 10 to.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we can get there.
Okay, let's move on then.
So moving on to Capaldi then. So what do you guys think of Capaldi's first episode? Because I've got some thoughts on this, but I want you guys to go first.
Again, he was asleep for most of the episode. And it were Lizard Lady, I always forget her name.
Madame Vastra.
Yeah, Madame Vastra. Her girlfriend, or wife.
And
Clara.
And the...
Strax?
Strax.
Yeah.
The Centauran.
Yeah. It was them, wasn't it?
And Clara.
It's kind of...
And it was Clara. Yeah, all right. It was Clara.
Yeah, it is Clara, yeah. So again, we're kind of sidekick heavy.
Yeah.
With Capaldi. Also, I'd say with Capaldi in general, it took me a little while to warm up to him because his personality is so different to what had come before.
He was completely different. I think he was more of an angry Doctor, to be honest. But he also reminded me a lot of, oh God, his name's gone out of my head. Tom Baker.
I can see that later on down the line, but not in the initial stages.
Yeah.
No.
I couldn't watch. I do like the Capaldi ones, but I couldn't watch it without comparing him every time. And not to the recent Doctors, it were always to Baker. He really reminded me of him.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I mean, obviously we're not getting into classic, but
yeah, I know.
For the first episode, Baker hit the ground running, whereas I don't think Capaldi did.
No, he didn't.
So that's the one place where they definitely differ. Also, this isn't on Capaldi, so I don't want to put it in there for the rating, but It was such a bad choice to have Matt Smith appear in Capaldi's first episode. I don't
seem to recall that.
I don't know why they did that. Right at the end of the episode, they have Matt Smith from Trenzalore phone Clara.
Yeah. Oh, I liked that. I actually liked that.
It would have worked had it taken place at the end of Matt Smith's final episode. Like, she sees Thingy, then gets the phone call from past Matt Smith. I don't like it because it's Capaldi's first episode. So it's his chance to step out of Matt's shadow, and then they put Matt in the episode. Do you know what I mean?
I do see what you're saying, but I think, for me, Clara wouldn't believe that he was a doctor. So I thought he fit just right. Because all the way through that episode, she would not have it that he was the doctor. And then she got the phone call from Matt, and then it was like, yeah, it is the doctor.
See,
so
I get what you're saying with the storyline. Yeah, I get what you're saying with the storyline that they crafted, and why that was needed. But what I'm saying is, I don't like that as a storyline choice. Because it didn't make sense anyway that she wouldn't believe that that was the Doctor. She's the impossible girl that lived through all the Doctor's timeline.
Do you know? Yeah, and I always call her the impossible girl, as you know, usually. I don't say her name, I usually go the impossible girl. But I never even thought that. So, yeah.
She's the one companion that seeing a new Doctor doesn't make as not the Doctor doesn't make sense.
But she jumps into his timeline in Matt Smith era, so she wouldn't have seen Capaldi as the Doctor.
No, she wouldn't, but she knows he changes his face. She's the one companion that knows how what regeneration does to the Doctor. She's the one companion that's lived through every single incarnation up until Matt Smith.
It should be like how River automatically senses who the Doctor is.
Yeah, because River knows no matter what, doesn't she?
No matter what the Doctor was, when she sees Tennant for the first time, she says, I know you. But she talks about him having a much older face.
Yeah, which is obviously Capaldi.
Capaldi in her timeline. She goes in a different timeline to the Doctor. But like River instinctively knows who the Doctor is. I get what you're saying. I think Clara should have been young because of how they set her up.
Yeah.
Like I say, I've never thought about it like that, but now you've said it, I'm like, actually, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So
it's the way
before I could get it, but now I'm like, yeah, actually, you're right. She should have known.
So it cheapens it for me because of the way that they've done that.
Yeah.
But that's not really a reflection on Capaldi. That's more on the writing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to add that to the rating of Capaldi in general. I just want to throw that in there so that
you know. But for a Doctor Who introduction as Capaldi's, to introduce Capaldi's Doctor, I don't think the storyline did it much favours.
No.
Capaldi, for me, cements himself as the Doctor later on down the line when he shows up, or I think it's Magician's Apprentice, and he shows up with the sunglasses and the guitar.
Oh, I love that episode.
Yeah, I do. I like that episode as well. When he's in Roman Colosseum.
I think it's I think they're on Sakat, the Daleks' homeworld. I always forget how to pronounce that place. And Missy's there as well. Skaro, thank you.
Yeah.
And Missy's there as well.
Now what's that one where he's in auditorium then? No, that's the one I'm thinking of. Is that in Skaro?
I'm not sure. I just know that he's got like the sunglasses on. He's stood, in front of the TARDIS. Like all the Daleks are there, and he's just laughing his ass off, basically having the time of his life.
I think we're thinking of different episodes. I'm thinking of the one where he's got when he goes into a deep depression, I think. He disappears and Missy goes and finds him with Clara.
Yeah,
and he's in like an auditorium and he's playing music to them all.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I think we are thinking of different episodes, but it's like the same arc.
Yeah.
Like
that. He's got his glasses on and he's playing his music and he's like,
it's
and
like
everyone's like going at him.
It's that arc of like his midlife crisis arc, as I call it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, basically, yeah.
Where he's got sonic sunglasses, an electric guitar.
Yeah.
He's swanning around. Everybody hated the sunglasses, but I thought they were cool.
I thought it was hilarious when he learned that without who eventually kills Clara.
Me.
Yeah, he's got his sunglasses on, and then Baddy, I can't remember who it is, but whoever it is comes, and he goes, I've got these sonic sunglasses, what are you going to do? They take them off his face and stamp on them.
Yeah.
and he's like, oh, right, guess I'll get a screwdriver again then.
One of the, I think it's in, like, might be before this era or during, but the scene where he's sword fighting Robin Hood with a spoon is funny.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's when he's not trying to be like. It's like it's not. It's when he's trying to be like super serious.
Yeah.
And everything that I think it doesn't really work. Like in some regards, it works. Like I can't remember the name of the episode, but it's the one. It's like the Zygons versus Unit.
Yeah.
And they're stood with the boxes, and he gives the best speech, like in my opinion, in Doctor Who, where they're talking about Doctor, and he like fingers on buzzers, and they're like, "It's not a game," and then he goes in, and he's like, "No, it's not."
Yeah.
And then has his like mental breakdown about the war, the Time War.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but his introduction isn't actually that. We've just been on about the first episode. His introduction, for me, as the Doctor, is actually in End of Time. Is it End of Time? No, is it Day of the Doctor?
It's Day of the Doctor when he shows up in the TARDIS and they're like, all 13.
Yeah, because it goes, it's all 12 of them, all 13. That, for me, that's when. And I know he's a cameo, but that shows him as the Doctor.
I think if we're...
Are we counting that? Because that's obviously an epic.
It's an epic scene. I think it does add to it. I like all the scenes that we've thingied, but they're more of his series rather than thingy. And the cameo, I'd throw in the same vein. If we're just focusing on the first episode, though, and the last, first and last like we have for the other Doctors, I can't really rate the first episode. Because like David Tennant, he's barely in it. And when he is in it, they go with that post-regeneration amnesia thing.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't remember that he's the Doctor.
Yeah.
So he's not really a character in a Doctor Who episode. It's only, like David Tennant, it's only at the end of the episode where he actually does anything.
And I don't think his final one, unlike David Tennant, I don't think his final one pulls him up either.
No.
In fact, I think his final one is the stupidest final one ever.
That's the one where they bring
Phil becomes a good
as the first.
It's where they have the two masters together.
No, because they do the Christmas. They have the Christmas special with Filch as the first Doctor.
Oh yeah, I don't really like that.
That's his. That's technically his last episode.
Yeah.
And
because he didn't want to regenerate, and then it's I've just realised what you've done, Filch.
Yeah.
Filch.
Yeah, Argus Filch.
It took me too long. Yeah, sorry.
So I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to click.
Yeah.
His name's David Bradley.
I know what his name is, but I call him Filch because that's all I can see him as.
Oh, right. I was trying to think, who the freak's Filch?
Students out of bed. There's students in the corridor. They're supposed to be out of bed, you blithering idiot.
Don't. We just put it on a high, Ethan. Now you're quoting Maggie Smith.
I know.
Hey, she's a legend for a reason.
She is. But yeah, I agree. I think, unlike, I'm not entirely certain, like Mum, that his final scenes bring up the rating.
Like,
no, because I didn't rate that episode at all.
I'm just going to put it out there. Mum forgot that the Christmas special was technically his last episode, so that just says it all.
Yeah. I thought his last episode was where you had two masters.
And I'm sorry, John Sims steals that episode.
Oh, I love John Sim. He's the best master ever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think he is, anyway.
I don't think there's any debate on that in the Doctor Who fandom.
No, he's definitely the best master. And if we had to rate masters, it'd be him, then Missy, and then rest would just like they were all on number 3.
They were there.
Yeah, rest were there.
But yeah, I give Capaldi sort of like the introduction to him as the Doctor. I'd give it a 6.
Yeah, I would. I was thinking 6.
See, I'm lower. I would have said a 5.
Oh. Nothing against Capaldi, as we've said. It's purely to do with storylines and how it was written.
I could only bring it up by I could only bring him up by other things that happened later on, which that's not his first episode.
Yeah.
So, or last. I think because the Christmas special.
Well, if we're going to talk technically on Capaldi's first ever episode, and technically, the first episode Capaldi ever appeared in was Fires of Pompeii.
Technically, Capaldi's in too much Doctor Who to count anything.
Yeah.
He's in Fires of Pompeii, he's in Torchwood, he's in as the Doctor.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I do. I rate Capaldi's seasons post those, before that episode and post his first episode. But, those two episodes.
When we're talking about the episodes, I agree. I say 6, personally.
I can concede to peer pressure and go with 6.
That's all right, then.
You know, you're my mum to post to tell me not to concede to peer pressure, but...
I was going to say, or put another way, done democratically. There's only 2 for 6 and 1 for 5.5.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I put mine up.
Yeah, so... Okay, I'll go with... I'll go with the democratic view and... stick with 6. Okay, so... Jodie. Right, this might be controversial to some Doctor Who fans. Her first episode is brilliant.
Yeah, I liked it. I like Jodie all the time, though.
Jodie as the Doctor, brilliant. Storylines in general, no. But the first episode, brilliant. Yeah,
I agree. And again, they chose the right mix of people to actually be in it. I know they all turned out to be companions in the end, but even if they hadn't, I think the chemistry between all the actors that were in that episode were it was spot on.
It was brilliant the way that they balanced everything in there. You had Bradley Walsh, which could have overshined everything if, like, for people that were, like, Bradley Walsh fans and Chase fans. But it didn't. You had disability representation with Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had Yasmin Khan, a police woman.
LGBTQ.
Like.
And LGBTQ.
Yeah, but that wasn't, like, explored till later on.
Well, yeah, but you were just, like, saying, you know.
I know, but these are things that were dropped in the first episode.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, and then you've got Ryan with his, I think it's dyspraxia.
Yeah, it was dyspraxia.
You've got the blended family between Graham and Ryan's grandma.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And to cap it off, Ryan's grandma dies in the episode.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first time we've seen someone, like, super close to the Doctor in the inaugural episode just die on screen.
Yeah.
Like, which, like, propels the arc of Graham.
Yeah.
So,
I love Graham as a character.
I did.
I loved everything that they did in that first episode. The villain was menacing.
Yeah.
The fact that we weren't in London, we were in Sheffield.
I was just about to say that.
Oh, I was going to say, obviously I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
Like, yeah.
It was nice to hear an actual kind of Yorkshire accent.
Yeah,
Yorkshire accent, yeah. Not the kind of really, really broad accent that people tend
to put on.
Yeah, used to when yeah, a kind of more diluted, I guess, the South Yorkshire accent, like how we talk, rather than, in the moors. It's
like seeing places that are like, oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
I mean, London is usually the central point for Doctor Who, so to be able to see it move and show that the Doctor can visit other places in the UK.
Yeah.
Like, that was cool.
Yeah, it was.
The fact that Jodie's Sonic was built out of Sheffield steel as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Steel works.
Yeah. I mean, they could have picked a better design for the first female Doctor.
Let's say no more.
Let's say no more. We all know what it looks like.
Yeah.
I also love how, like, obviously, obviously Jodie is the first female Doctor. Hopefully she's not the last. But
yeah, right, she's not.
She's all her introduction as, the Doctor suddenly being female. Is so nonchalant.
Yeah.
I like
the Doctor themselves isn't like, oh my god, I'm now a woman. It's just, I'm the Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the bit where she gets a ID out, the psychic paper, and she shows it to Flo, and he goes, that says, what, I can't remember what it is, but some other man. And she goes, oh, does it? Oh, that's probably because I were a man half an hour ago.
Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, I was a Scotsman.
Dated.
I were a Scotsman.
Yeah, that right, I were a Scotsman.
Yeah. I were an angry Scotsman half an hour ago.
Yeah.
It's just nonchalant. It's the fact that you have Graham and Ryan's grandma, who, I'm sorry to the character, because I can't remember your actual name apart from Ryan's grandma. Just looking at each other like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Just baffled by the fact that this woman's just going around going, yeah, I used to be an angry Scotsman.
Yeah, it's and like you say, she's very nonchalant about it. It's really.
And then speaking of clothes, we have the scene where she just wanders into a shop and she's like, I need clothes.
She goes into a charity shop.
Yeah, charity shop. Just buys herself some new clothes. Like,
yeah.
She's like,
well, I love that. Yeah, this'll do.
I like the implication that all the clothes on the TARDIS would be male.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
of course. I've never thought about that, but
You know something? Neither was I.
She'd possibly have to buy actual new clothes because she wouldn't necessarily have clothes
Like,
on the TARDIS female.
I mean, I know she's got to go looking for the TARDIS. That's like part of the first arc. But I do like the implication that she does have to, like, she can't just wear Capaldi's outfit till she finds the TARDIS. She has to go find clothes.
Yeah, she's got to get her own personality.
Yeah.
But they all do. Why don't they? After any regeneration, they all get their own. You know, like
they don't like wearing the previous.
No.
Like, they'll probably have, like, their first adventure wearing the other Doctor's clothes, and then they're like, I need to get out of these.
Yeah, I need my own stuff to feel comfortable in.
Yeah,
but I suppose that's only like you having to wear our Ashlea's clothes, or I mean, same sort of thing, isn't it? I know it's the same person, but you're in a different body, so you don't feel comfortable till you've kitted yourself out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think especially, not usually, because it's obviously changing from male to male, but I think especially for the Jodie series, it's a good allegory of her being transgender as well.
Yeah.
Because she's not comfortable in the persona that she had before.
Yeah.
Because she's no longer the gender she was before.
Yeah. 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 Good thinking. Good analogy.
And while later episodes would be quite ham-fisted with their messages, the first episode wasn't.
No.
I think it did it. I think it balanced it quite well.
Yeah.
So I do rate the first episode. Now the last episode was.
I only remember one bit of it.
The last episode was fun, if not weird as well. I mean, if I'm remembering rightly, the Rasputin episode is the last episode for Jodie, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I thought so, yeah. I love it. It's such a good episode. I would argue that we've called it the Rasputin episode. We always like, Rasputin episode. But the Master is really the central character.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why I said now the last episode, because I think the first episode did a really good job at balancing Jodie as the central figure, but introducing us to the supporting cast. The last episode was too focused on the Master.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it was massively overshadowed by the fact that they, when she does regenerate, we see Tennant and we go, what?
What?
Yeah.
And so Jodie's final episode, the first female Doctor, and really the fact that we should be focusing again on, I know it's been a ham-fisted and shoved down your throat all season, but really, if you knew that you were going back to a man playing the Doctor, for me, Jodie should have had her own moment. That final episode is overshadowed by two men.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, she has the cheesiest way out ever. Tag you're it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
so I like that.
I mean, it was fun. It's fun. It like fits the fun vibe of what Jodie was going for.
Yeah.
But it is cheesy.
It is, but I like cheese. So.
All right, Wallace.
Which is a Lancastrian reference.
It is.
They're in Lancaster, aren't they? Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Even on the Doctor Who episode, we can't get away from Yorkshire versus Lancaster.
We can't.
Sorry, I just thought it was quite funny that you mentioned Wallace and Gromit. Wow, this really is a British themed episode. That's the fourth, like, British institutional program we've mentioned.
Oh, no.
But I think I thought Jodie should have been given The episode was great, but I didn't see it as a.
There wasn't enough fanfare for her goodbye.
Yeah.
There should have been
Goodbye.
maybe not as much as what we got for Tennant, because obviously the series wasn't as beloved.
Yeah.
I'm not putting that on Jodie. I'm putting that on the series. But she should have got more fanfare for it. Like, and like you said, it was
people
focused on.
People were too butthurt that they made the Doctor female. There were people like, Doctor's not female, but, and I think that the fact that the writing wasn't very good as well, I do think that, like, that really ruined her era because people were very butthurt, just like they are about Shooty. Do you know what I mean? It's like, for some reason, people seem to think the Doctor isn't just a being. Do you know what I mean? The Doctor.
I was going to say it's never.
Fluid.
The Doctor's always been gender fluid. The Doctor's
always been gender
always
fluid.
been, and while they tend to be white and humanoid, the Doctor has made loads of references to the fact that that's not always necessarily the case and isn't automatically the case. As in, like, just quickly going back to Eccleston, when Eccleston explains to Rose the process of regeneration, he even said, I might come back with 2 heads, I might come back with no head. Like,
and he might not always generate into a human as well.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where the fact that everyone goes, you gets upset about the fact that the Doctor's not a white male.
Yeah,
is ridiculous because even from conception, not even from like New Who, like the Doctor as a figure
from the beginning
of regeneration. Yeah.
Of regeneration. Obviously, when part of regeneration comes in as a way of replacing the actor.
Yeah. I'm just throwing that in there. Episode. We're just throwing that in there for the Doctor Who purists that catch this podcast, because I know you'd pick us apart if we didn't put that in there in the comments.
Yeah, we know that it's not a concept from the very, very beginning, but from the fact that the Doctor can regenerate, it is established that they could regenerate into anything.
Yeah.
The comics even go as far as to show us a potential future where the Doctor regenerates into one of those cat people we see on New Earth.
Yeah, I was going to say I've read that, where he's regenerated into one of them.
Which, please do that in the show, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it would.
Like, could you imagine people got butthurt about him regenerating to things you can actually find on Earth?
Yeah.
Imagine what they'd be like if he regenerated into a cat.
Exactly.
I actually think some people would find that easier to comprehend in their own minds, which is bizarre. But I actually think if you turn around and said the Doctor's a cat or a dog, they'd be like, fair play. But the moment you're like, the Doctor has periods, they're like, oh my god, no.
Yeah. Or the Doctor's got a different coloured skin.
Yeah, it's like, the Doctor loves going dancing in the gay bar. Absolutely not. The Doctor's a humanoid cat. Fantastic. Like, come on, people, sort it out.
True.
Exactly.
True. I mean, yeah.
So what do you think for Jodie?
I think the final episode, because like we said, she gets overshadowed by other characters, drags it down. But I think she is in line with Eccleston.
Yeah, I do.
I put the same here.
Yeah, I do. I do as well. I was hoping that's what you both said, so that's what I wanted to say.
Because we're not rating the seasons.
No.
So, if we're just going on those in particular, it is the first episode pulls it up because it sets it up, and that's why there's a letdown.
Yeah.
It has massive potential.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to say, but I couldn't think of the right words, so thanks for that, Ash.
So yeah, 8. 8. On to Shooty.
No. No.
Are you you want to do the reintroduction of Tennant?
Well, Jodie's 13. We've got to do 14.
We got to do 10.5. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were skipping 10.5.
Oh, well, no, because that's my number 10. That's my favourite.
You want to put 10.5 at 10?
Yeah, I do.
Is that nostalgia by any chance?
No, I'll tell you what, right, it isn't so much what happened in the episode. It's the fact that, and I know a lot of Doctor Who fans knew, and I know you two knew we were coming back, but I didn't. I had no clue whatsoever. And at the time, as you'll both remember, but your listeners won't know, I was looking after my 88-year-old grandma with dementia, who's not a Doctor Who fan, and used to say, "Oh, bloody Doctor Who," every time I put it on. And when David Tennant appeared as the Doctor, I jumped up screaming, and it were biggest smile I've ever seen on my nana's face. She were laughing her head off. Dog were jumping about all over the place. It was like a party going off. So it's, for me, that is the best one, where he's like become the Doctor. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know whether you'd like class that as the Jodie episode or that, but his introduction there, that were just, it were brilliant. It were amazing. And that's why I think it were best. And then obviously, say that again, Ashlea.
I was just going to say just a simple line of "I know these teeth."
Yeah, I know these teeth. They were like, what? And I just, oh, yeah.
I honestly, okay, we can do an honorary mention maybe.
Yeah, this is an honorary mention. We're not counting it as the part of the official line of Doctors.
Well, because, just while we're on the subject, because we had all the shenanigans with the Master, before with the 2 separate TARDISes and all that lot, I loved how the 3 episodes played out, but I genuinely thought Tennant was coming back as a Master, not as a Doctor.
All right.
Originally.
Oh.
That's
what I honestly thought was going to happen, and then obviously didn't. And I was like, oh, okay.
Mm. Yeah, I thought and I thought the 3 episodes with him and Donna, they were brilliant.
I mean, if we're talking about them as an honourable mention, the first one with, I think it's called the Star Beast with Beep the Meep.
Yeah.
The meat.
The meat.
It's so adorable until it's not.
Yeah.
That,
like Miriam.
As a long-time Doctor Who fan that's got into New Who, then jumped into Classic when BritBox became a thing, and then started reading some of the old stuff. Seeing the Meep on screen was awesome.
Yeah.
That was really cool to see. I didn't think they'd ever adapt the Meep on TV, because it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And seeing the Disney budget, on the specials was amazing. But then there were some things that were a bit off, like the sonic force field.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, the thing that I really want, and that Doctor Who episode has made me want 100%, and I'm sad that wheelchairs do not come with this preloaded, is wheelchair rocket launchers. As a wheelchair user, that sucks. I want that on every model.
I'm sorry, Ethan, but you just made me laugh there because you nearly called yourself a wheelchair loser.
Yeah, I know. I got tongue-tied because I got so excited.
I think isn't it in those 3 episodes? I can't remember which one it's in. But when we get the new TARDIS and it's actually accessible, And there's a note made about being like, oh, look, this is
finally accessible.
Making things so accessible.
Yeah. It is that episode, I think.
It's the final episode. It's the final episode of the 3-part special. When
is it final one?
Yeah, because it's after they've had the bi-generation.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With Neil Patrick.
Bi-generation, baby.
With the Neil Patrick Harris toy maker.
Yeah. The giggle.
Wanted more.
Yeah, I did. I wanted more.
It was such master energy. I'm so sad he's not the master.
Yeah. I know, me too. Me too.
Like, Spice Up Your Life is the new, what do you call it? Here Come the Drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in just phenomenal. I think that's the thing why I didn't think we were including these 3 episodes, because like you said, Disney budget, you had massive stars, there was obviously a lot of fun put into these 3 episodes.
It was the 60th anniversary, so...
Yeah.
It was, I don't think...
We included the 50th anniversary, End of Time and that.
We did, but only as like honourable mentions. We should have mentioned them earlier on, and we didn't.
But I guess really, if we're doing 10.5 and we're ranking 10.5, he has to be a 10, doesn't he?
It does.
It's as close as we get to perfection.
Yeah,
it's the way it concluded a storyline. The thing is, it concluded a storyline that needed that conclusion.
Yeah, it did.
Because every Doctor Who fan that watched season 4 with Donna Noble was left heartbroken at the end of that, and the fact that they've finally been able to give her back her memories and give her like the life she needs with the Doctor, her best friend. And give her back that spark that, like, even Wilf notes in the end of time. Like, he says she was better with you. Like, the fact that she never got that back until the 60th anniversary.
Yeah.
And you see that in the way that Rose looks at her when she's got that spark back. She's like, so this is what my mum was supposed to be like.
Yeah.
This is the mum my grandma and grandpa always go on about.
Yeah.
So we can feel all the feels, Ethan.
I know.
But yeah, I think we all agree. But he can't pass in the official rating for this when we're rating the 6th new Who Doctor.
Okay.
And I suppose Shooty, we can't talk about his last episode because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But his first episode is the bi-generation finale to this 60th anniversary.
For me, I think we can talk about the bi-generation and we can talk about his actual first standalone episode so that he still gets 2 episodes talked about.
Okay. So obviously the bi-generation is up there. It was amazing to see.
Yeah, it was.
The moment
I agree with Mel. He is beautiful.
Yes, I was going to say, and they definitely chose the right Doctor to have his pants off.
He's got amazing legs.
The fact that he comes in wearing the underclothes of David Tennant as well.
David Tennant, yeah.
Which implies David Tennant is no longer wearing any underpants, by the way, guys.
Yeah, I know.
What a lovely concept. but for me as well, it's not just the bi-generation moment and both of them working off together, because to me that's like a joint scene. You've got loads of energy. The thing for me in that episode where I go, okay, the new Doctor's arrived, is where Tuesday's Doctor says, no, not that one. This TARDIS is yours.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah. He's like, wrong TARDIS, baby. This one's mine.
Yeah.
I like how he can tell as well.
Well, he's got a jukebox.
Yeah, I know, but like, I also like the theory of the TARDIS, the thing as well. That because bi-generation isn't actually supposed to be a thing, when David Tennant's Doctor eventually does pass on, he won't regenerate. He'll just be pulled back in time and become Shooty, and his TARDIS will become Shooty's TARDIS. So they are each other, just at different points in time, which fits with what
come back together, won't they? The TARDISes will just come back together.
Yeah, which fits with what Shooty says in the episode where he says, "Yeah, I've already done my rehab and healing. We're Time Lords. Yeah. We do everything back to front."
Yeah.
So I do like that fan theory, and I hope that is the intention.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like when you have to take a step back, like you've had an overwhelming week and you think, I just need an hour of me time, whether that's bath, if you've got a cup of tea to yourself, gaming if you're into that, it's almost like that, isn't it? It's like life's got too much, I need to take a step back now and just have a small break.
Yeah.
And Doc has this amazing ability to do that while still carrying on.
Yeah, saving the world.
I'd love to do that and go, okay, this part of me's a little bit overwhelmed. Let's just take it away and be like, right, out.
You will sort yourself out. I'll see you when I bi-generate into you.
Yeah.
Yeah, see you later.
Be brilliant.
More straightforward than therapy.
It also explains... See, that theory also explains why Shooty already knew what was going off. Like, obviously, I know they're the same person, so he's probably got all the memories, but he knows everything, and it's almost as if he already knows they win.
Yeah.
But he's not saying anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like,
I liked that the epic battle was a ball game. Catch.
That's the toy maker.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it was funny.
I also like but that theory also explains why Shooty knew how to get out of the bi-generation and stuff. I mean, this is later on in Shooty's season as well, because we don't see this until like the final episode of his first season. But have you noticed how the science officers at UNIT all seem to have a disability?
Yes.
Like, the one we meet in David Tennant's special is in a wheelchair, and then the one we meet in the final episode 1 is I think the correct term is little person, or it might be dwarf.
Dwarfism.
Is it dwarf?
Dwarfism.
Yeah, dwarfism.
I didn't know what the politically correct term is, so sorry if I offended anyone with that.
I'm going to say he did used to be. Whether or not it's changed, I'm not sure. But I know that when the last thing I read it said with dwarfism. I can't, whatever it was I was reading about, that's what it said.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But of course, where, even, I just put this out there, that even though we are disabled people ourselves, we're one type of disabled.
Yeah.
And we'd love to be educated about other disabilities. So if people are listening with dwarfism and they go, oh, actually, no, guys, you're outdated, so can you let us know, educate us? Because I would always say person with rather than,
I'd like to know what the correct term is so that I don't, like when we're discussing that character in future, I don't offend anybody in the way that, like, when we're mentioning the disability. So.
Yeah. It's good to be educated.
Anyway, moving back on to Shooty, I think that the first episode where we see that a lot of the attention is on like the bi-generation, so you don't really get a lot of Shooty's personality. You get a bit.
No. You get flickers.
Yeah.
And like the coolness of like when he, like you say, when he gets the TARDIS, the fact that they point out that it's his TARDIS is wheelchair accessible.
Yeah.
I like the implication that David Tennant's isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of funny. I also like the fact that they point out that it only took like, I think they say 60 years, which I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But on to Shooty's actual solo episode, Church on Ruby Road.
Yeah.
I think this was a good episode. I think the only issues...
Eat the baby.
I think the only issues I have with it is it's in a very tight space. Like, we spend a lot of the time in Ruby's apartment or on that ship. So we don't get a lot of time to see, like, Shooty. Like, Shooty needs room from what we've seen of his Doctor.
Yeah.
For the flair.
Yeah.
So I don't think he gets to...
I love the music, though.
Yeah, that's what I was just doing. Eat the baby. Eat the baby.
Just makes me laugh. I think that was when I was like, oh, okay, we're going back to whimsical.
Yeah.
I like the fact that almost made it to Christmas #1.
He never did.
Yeah. People were buying it and downloading it enough that almost made it up to Christmas #1.
Oh my God.
I listened to it like 600 times.
It was catchy though.
It was catchy, but yeah, I think you see a kind of...
I knew people that stopped watching Doctor Who just because of that song.
Yeah, I know I do.
Well, because they thought it was a bit ridiculous.
They said it were too camp and too... Doctor Who's never had stuff like that in.
Okay.
Doctor Who's never had stuff like that in. I'm just going to raise you with, here come the drums, here come the drums. And rah, rah, Rasputin.
I was going to say, like, it's we've had stuff like that before.
I mean,
Exactly.
the person I mean, they stopped watching it because they thought it was insensitive to have a song about eating babies at Christmas.
What? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause that's what people do. Okay. Very strange.
Okay. But yeah, I thought it was a strong introduction. I liked the fact that we had this kind of quirky funness at Christmas.
Yeah.
I saw a return to kind of like this fun whimsical.
And the start of the mystery, like, say what you will about the ending of that mystery. The start of the mystery was intriguing.
Yeah, it was. Oh, we're going to find out who Mrs. Flood is this season, aren't we?
Hopefully.
I'm sure I've read Russell T Davies has said that we will.
Like,
Still think she's the Rani.
I'm hoping she's the Rani. Fingers crossed.
So, a lot of people are saying Rani.
But back to Shooty.
Sorry about this,
I thought
guys.
it was strong. I thought it was strong.
Yeah.
It was a very strong episode. The fact that the first time we actually like see him properly is just dancing in a kilt in the club.
Yeah.
I said, I love it. And I love the fact as well that I don't actually know where Shooty's from, but again, we've got this Scotland reference.
Yeah.
With the kilt. Is Shooty Scottish as well?
I believe he's got Scottish heritage, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's Sonic denotes his I don't want to get the country wrong, but is one half of his heritage. And the kilt was to denote the Scottish half. I'm not going to say the country because I don't want to get it wrong. So if people do know which one it was specifically for, let us know in the comments. I said comics. Comments. My brain is frazzled. Comments. Because I don't want to get that wrong at all. But I know that it has like the symbols.
Rwanda.
Is it Rwanda?
Yeah. I've just googled Shooty Gatwa, Rwandan Scottish actor.
Yeah.
It has like I can't remember the language, but it has it written on the Sonic.
Oh right.
Amazing.
On the Sonic remote.
Yeah. Cool.
That they still call a screwdriver. It's a remote.
Yeah.
So sorry, I just so now it's been confirmed that Shooty is Scottish. Again, apologies, Shooty, for the fact that we doubted that when we just said your first 5 minutes were of you dancing in a kilt. Of course, you were Scottish. But I think actually what we've established then is the Doctor's new Doctor identity, predominant identity, not male or female. It's
Scottish. Yeah.
Now we just need him to be ginger. That's why he wants to be ginger. He wants to be a Scottish ginger.
He wants to really embody his Scottish heritage. That's what he wants.
That's what he needs. He needs his ginger.
Yeah.
The fact that to be fair, that is the most iconic thing of when they regenerate, when they're all upset that they're not ginger.
Yeah, it is. Well, I wonder where that came from.
I'm pretty sure. I don't remember it in any. I don't remember it in any classics. I do remember it in David Tennant's first episode, though.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's just come from Tennant.
But then Matt Smith does the same thing. He's like,
I know he does. That's what I'm saying. Did Tennant start it off?
I think he did. And then Matt Smith just carried it on, just like, and still not ginger.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Doctor does become a cat. They can become a ginger cat.
A ginger cat, yeah.
That'd be iconic.
But yeah, I think Shooty's introduction was strong as the Doctor.
And hopefully they continue that strength for his when he ends as the Doctor.
Yeah.
Whenever that is, because regardless of what some outlets tell you online, we don't actually know when his tenure on Doctor Who will end.
No. It could have another season, yeah.
Yep. But we'll have to find out later on tonight, or right now if you've got BBC iPlayer, when the Doctor meets the nurse.
Yep.
So what would we rank Shooty?
I would say, because we don't have an ending, and we're going solely off like the first episode, I'd say a solid 7.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. With potential to be up there in the high 8s and the 9s, depending on where we go.
Depending on where, on this finale, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what did we concluded then that
Matt Smith is the superior opener.
Yeah.
I think
if you were to sum the Doctor up to just to their first and final episode, Matt Smith is the one that comes up top.
Yeah.
It will always be the superior opener. I watched a video to see it earlier in the week to see how other people ranked it, and that was at the top of their list as well. So it's not just us. Like, other people are ranking that episode at the top.
Yeah.
Like,
I know everyone raves about Tennant all the time. I personally think Matt Smith is on par with him. And if he'd done returns like Tennant has, he might even surpass him.
I think it's just because a lot of people got into Doctor Who around David Tennant. So that will always gravitate to David Tennant.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember...
David Tennant is phenomenal in anything that he does, to be honest. Everything I've watched him, I've thought he's brilliant. So, you know, I think he embodies the characters that he plays all the time and really well. So...
I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we started towards the end of Rosa's time on the show and then, like, beginning of Martha's.
Yeah.
So, I will always gravitate back to that, but I, hot take, prefer Martha over Rose.
Yeah.
Don't crucify me in the comments, Whovians.
It could be another episode, though, ranking the companions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like that idea.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, I like that idea.
We have a lot more disagreement, actually, over companions than we do over...
Yeah, I do as well.
I know one disagreement we would definitely have, because I know me and Mum have had debates on this in the past, and that's Clara.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like Clara, do they?
No.
No. I'm not a lot of people.
Depends on which Doctor you talk about.
Yeah. Well, like you say,
I'm going to say we leave that there.
Yes.
I'm just aware that this could go on for hours.
Yeah. I was just going to say, but we can do that in a different episode, because otherwise I'm not going to get nothing done today.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely do that in another episode. Maybe just before we do our recap and review of Season 2 of Doctor Who. So let us know if you want that. And if you do, we'll come back and we'll do that. And we'll do the Companions one as well. And maybe we can get other Whovian Nerd of the Round Table on to give their thoughts as well.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right.
And I guess the only last thing to say, because I'm just noting the date, is that if anyone does celebrate, Happy Easter, I guess, since we're talking about regeneration and coming back from the dead, on theme for the holiday that is coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, at time of release, it will be Easter Sunday, I believe. So, yeah, have a happy Easter, everybody.
Well, happy Easter, everybody.
So, with that, I think there's only one last thing any Whovian has to say when they're signing off an episode, and that's ALLONS-Y.